Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to my Iced Out Masterclass. In this class, I'm going to show you how to achieve this gorgeous iced out glam paired with an ombre pink mauve glossy lip. I start by prepping my skin with Embryolisse moisturizer. This moisturizer is great if you have normal, combination dry, or sensitive skin. I apply the product to the center of my face and work it outwards. This will hydrate my skin and serve as a good base for foundation. A great thing about this moisturizer is that it's multi-purpose, so you can use it for cleansing as well as a night face cream and body cream. With KVD Beauty Translucent Locket Setting Powder, I'm going to powder my brows to absorb any excess moisture. Doing this will help your brow product of choice apply so much better. After I'm done powdering my brows, I am going to go in with a spoolie and brush through my brow hairs and whip them into shape. Once my brows are brushed out, I'm going to take the Anastasia Beverly Hills Precise Concealer brush with some concealer and carve out my brows. Add some of the product to your brush and squeeze the bristles together. That way the brush is nice and flat and gives you a very precise edge. To carve out my brows, I'm using the P.Louise Base in shade 3 and the P.Louise Acid Rain Blank Canvas base. I begin carving out my brow with base shade number 3. I start in the middle and work my way outwards and inwards. If you are more so a beginner with makeup or have trouble doing your brows, this is a great method because you are initially making a guide for yourself, so when you go to fill in your eyebrows later on, it is so much easier and it goes by a lot quicker. Once I have my initial brow shape down, I'm going to drag the product down onto my lid. With the base, I add a little bit of product at a time as I go. That way I'm not adding too much product onto my eyes, because if you add too much product, it's going to lead to creasing and you're just going to have a bad time. Always start with small amounts of product at a time, because once you add too much, it is hard to bounce back depending on what step you are in the process. Once I have the base dispersed all over the lid, I'm taking an Il Makiage Concealer blending brush and I'm going to buff out any brush strokes. Always make sure you buff out the brush strokes, otherwise once you apply your eyeshadow and the surface is uneven, it's going to be patchy. Any residual base left on the brush, I bring down under my eyes. Once everything is all evened out, I let the base set for a few minutes. That way it can thicken up, become tacky, and better grab the eyeshadow. Next, moving into the eyeshadow, I'm going to start off by using the Be Perfect Carnival XL Pro palette in collaboration with Stacey Marie MUA. This palette I highly recommend adding to your arsenal just based on the versatility of the palette alone. You get your neutrals, you get your brights, and you even get your highlight shades on the side. I'm going to start off with the Crayon Case blending brush, a cross between a flat brush and a fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Hall. I pack on the shade above my natural crease, and this step is very important. You want the shade to be above your natural crease, and you'll see why in a few minutes. As I apply the eyeshadow, I am using patting motions. The patting motions is to ensure the opacity of the eyeshadow. I find that when I apply the eyeshadow using sweeping motions, it tends to move the product around underneath, thus leading to patchiness, and we do not want that. I'm now going to take a clean brush to diffuse the edges of the eyeshadow. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills A10 Pro brush. This is a great soft brush with natural bristles that taper off into a fluffy shape that's perfect for blending. With a light hand and using circular motions, I am diffusing the color out to my brow bone. I do this so that when I apply the next shade, the transition of colors will be cleaner. Using the same brush, I am going to take the shade Basic and apply it above the previous shade and diffuse it up to the brow. I'm now going to go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pencil brush. I'm taking the shade Lights Out and marking just above my crease. I then pack on the shade at the level of the marker. I don't blend out this shade yet. Focus on getting a nice, even, concentrated color. Next, I'm applying the shade Intuition directly above the previous shade. I then go back and blend the shades where the edges of each color meet. Once I have my main shades down, I am now going to go in and begin carving out my crease. I start by sketching out the crease shape with my flat brush. I utilize the edge of the brush so I can achieve a nice clean shape. The placement of the cut crease will go above your natural crease. That way the effect doesn't disappear when your eyes are open. I wing the crease shape out at the lower point of my orbital bone. Now here's where you're going to see why shadow placement is so important. I didn't place my initial shades high enough above my natural crease, so now when I go to clean it up, all the work that I did is erased. Here I am cleaning up the crease with a Q-tip and Garnier micellar water. You can also do this using Vaseline on a flat brush and removing residual product with a makeup wipe, but personally I find this the easiest cleanup method. Now here's the fix to that eyeshadow mishap. I'm going to use the Mehron No. 4 brush. This is just a skinnier pencil brush, and I'm just going to repeat all the same steps from earlier. I am redefining the crease with the black eyeshadow. Adding dark brown on top of the black and then blending out where the two edges meet, and repeat that process on the other side. It is okay to make mistakes, guys, because who are we without making a few mistakes and learning from them? You already know the drill, so I'm going to go ahead and speed forward past the repeating process. Now using P.Louise Acid Rain blank canvas, we are really going to carve out a sharp, clean crease. Really utilize the edges of your brush again and take your time carving out the crease. Slow and steady wins the race, but over time, as you practice, you will be able to do this process a lot more quickly. Also, with the Acid Rain base, you're going to want to work a little more quickly. Carving out the crease is fine, but once you have it dispersed over the lid and you pat it out, you have about 60 seconds to work with it before it dries down matte. So go ahead and drag that product down over the eyelid and pat out the brush strokes. Now I'm going to go in with the Sample Beauty Cult palette. This palette is awesome, especially if you are on a budget, because it is so affordable but it doesn't compromise quality for the price. For this next part, you can use any dense flat shadow brush. I'm using the ABH A4 Cream Shadow Brush. Taking the shade Gros Fenor, a metallic champagne shimmer, I'm going to pack that on over the entire cut crease. Next, we're going to be hitting the inner corners, and a great brush for that is the Morphe M513 Round Blender Brush. And using this white 2016 shade in the inner corners, this will just really brighten up and open up the eye, making you look more awake. Now go ahead and repeat those same steps on the other side. Remember to take your time with carving out your crease. Pack on that champagne shade, and it doesn't have to be completely perfect because we're going to be going in with glitter later. Brighten up the inner corners of the eyes with that white eyeshadow, blending it into that champagne shade. We are now almost done with the eyes. You don't have to worry about the edges. Now to add glitter, I'm going to be using the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive. With the lash glue, I'm going to apply it all over the carved out shape. Make sure you leave some space directly above the lash line. The reason for this is if you don't leave empty space and you add glitter to this area, when you go in with eyeliner, it's going to get gunky. The eyeliner won't apply as clean. It's a mess. The glitter I'm going to be using is Wear Beauty's Party Monster glitter. It is this really awesome holographic glitter, and as I am applying it, my head is tilted downwards. That way I can avoid glitter fallout on my face. If you are doing this on someone else and you can't tilt their head down, go ahead and hold something under their eye like a tissue or a cotton round to catch the particles that fall onto their face. Or if you don't do that and glitter does get onto their face, you can always use tape to get the particles off their face. Also, you may be wondering why I'm using lash glue as opposed to glitter glue, and the reason being is because lash glue actually keeps the glitter from creasing. After I have my glitter applied, I'm going to apply lash glue to the outer third of my crease edge. This is going to be the prep for adding rhinestones. If you're wondering where everyone gets their rhinestones, Amazon is going to be your best friend. You can get a pack of assorted size rhinestones for under 10 bucks. You're also going to need a rhinestone picker. This is just going to make the rhinestone application process a lot easier. I chose the smallest size of rhinestones in the pack, and I'm just applying them along the crease edge where I applied the lash glue. If you find yourself without a rhinestone picker tool, what you can do is use the end of a skinny makeup brush, add a little bit of lash glue, and you can use the tacky end to pick up the rhinestones and apply. So when you're done applying your rhinestones, you should ultimately have something that looks like this. Go ahead and add your rhinestones to the other side. For my eyeliner, I am using the Wet n Wild Beauty Mega Liner in the shade Black. I'm just going to form a wing across my lid, and this is why leaving that space was so important, because this will allow me to create a really nice clean wing. If the space had glitter on it, I wouldn't be able to achieve as straight and clean of lines. So if you want to avoid grief, do not skip that step. Now it's time to get my face together, and I'm going to be using the Benefit Cosmetics Boi-ing Concealer in shade number 5. I'm going to be applying it under the eyes, T-zone, mouth, and chin area, and this is going to be what I am highlighting and bringing forward. I'm going to allow the concealer to sit on my face for a few minutes. This will allow it to thicken up and provide me more coverage. For my bronzer shade, I'm using the Black Radiance Beauty Foundation Stick in Bronze Glow. I am bronzing instead of contouring because I want to add a warm glow to my face, as opposed to contouring where you use cooler tones to sculpt your face and create shadows. But I am still following the same process as you would if you were contouring. Make sure to sculpt the jawline for that really snatched look. I'm now going to take my Real Technique sculpting brush and buff out my bronzer. As I buff everything out, I am making sure to blend the shades up into my hairline, and then I also blend the shade into my ears as well. That way everything is just more cohesive. And once I get to the jawline, I'm also going to blend the shade down into my neck. If you're wondering why I am doing bronzing and highlight first, it's because I'm doing a technique called underpainting. It's where all your cream products go under your foundation. This helps you achieve a more seamless looking application. This technique is great for bridal or photo shoots. Also, a tip as you're bronzing or contouring, go ahead and bring that shade up into your eyeshadow. That way you have a more seamless blend. Now I am blending out my concealer. Since it has been sitting on my face for some time, I'm going to take a little bit more time to blend it out. I do take my time so it's able to warm up and melt into my skin a lot better. I am using a damp beauty sponge to buff it all out. You can use a brush. I just prefer the beauty sponge because I can avoid any potential brush strokes or streaking. My foundation is the ABH Luminous foundation in the shade 335. I apply it sparingly over the face. I'm not going to overdo it because I already have my base of bronzing and highlight, and I want it to show through. But if I feel it's too sheer, what's nice about this foundation is that it has buildable coverage. Also, I am adding P.Louise OTT Red Base as a blush. To blend out my foundation, I'm going to be using Nye Final Seal setting spray spritzed on a beauty sponge. Setting spray definitely shouldn't be the final step in your makeup routine. You should be using it throughout the face application process. Keep spraying your beauty tool as you blend out your foundation. This will ultimately help increase the longevity of your makeup. Also, don't worry about overlapping your contour/bronzer. You can always reinforce it with powder later. Plus, you want all the shades to melt together so it looks like one seamless natural finish. I'm going to go ahead and blend out that blush shade. I let it sit a little too long so it's stained, but it's not too noticeable, so I'm not worried about it. I want to warm up my complexion a little bit more, so I'm going to go in with Ava Beauty's My Perfect Match palette in the shade Medium. And I'm just going to lightly reinforce the areas that I had bronzed earlier. And I'm buffing it out with the Beauty Blender, making sure it all melts together. At this step, I also finished defining my nose shape, bringing the contours up into my eyeshadow so it's all cohesive. I add a little bit of product at a time, that way I'm not overdoing it. Now using this face brush, it doesn't have a name, but it is a smaller facial powder brush. I'm going to lightly set my under eyes with the KVD translucent setting powder. Do this if you tend to have dry skin because baking will overly dry out your skin. With a beauty sponge and some translucent powder, I'm really going to sculpt out my nose though, which is totally fine because this area of my face gets oily. I'm going to let the powder around my nose set and then lightly powder the rest of my face. When I'm done, I brush away the remaining powder. This part is optional if you want really carved out, snatched cheekbones. You're going to powder under your cheekbones. Sculpt your cheekbones how you like. For me, I normally aim from the middle of my ear to the corner of my mouth. After you let it set, go ahead and brush away the extra powder. Now I'm going to circle back and finish the eyes, and I am repacking on some white shadow into the inner corner of the eyes because I want it as bright as I can get it. For a more dramatic cat eye shape, I'm going to add an inner corner wing, which is just a small triangular shape projecting from the inner corner of your eye. Moving on to brows, I'm using KVD Super Pomade in the shade Light Brown. And the brush I'll be using is the ABH Angled 7B brush. I'm going to add a small amount of product to the brush and squeeze the bristles together so that the brush is more precise. To fill in my eyebrows, I begin by lining the lower half of my brow. I am using where I carved out my brow earlier as a guide. I am now outlining the top 2/3 of my brow, making sure to follow my brow shape as closely as possible. Once you get to the arch, go ahead and connect both lines together to form the tail of the brow. Then with small amounts of product at a time, I begin filling in my eyebrows using hair-like brush strokes. This will help mimic the appearance of brow hairs and help you avoid the look of blocky eyebrows. As you get towards the front of your brows, use any residual product on the brush and only add more as needed. That way you have a nice ombre on brow effect. Going in with Inglot AMC Eyeliner Gel in the shade 77, we are going to tightline our waterline. This eyeliner right here has been the only eyeliner I've used on both myself and clients that actually holds up to watery eyes. It's actually the best gel eyeliner I've used. I would recommend adding this to your kit as well as the Inglot Duraline. With a small pencil brush, I am smudging out the eyeliner and connecting it to the wing. Now to add that last finishing touch for the eyes, I'm applying lash glue to the inner third of my eye under my lower lash line. And then I am taking my rhinestone picker and the smallest rhinestones that I have and applying it where I had just applied the glue. Now for lashes, and I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on. These lashes are foam ink lashes from Amazon, and I just love how dimensional and fluffy they are. I like the spacing of the lash clusters, and they're just the right amount of drama. Once lashes are applied, squeeze your natural lashes together with the falsies. This will just help your natural lash blend into the falsies so much better. You can do this using your fingers or your tweezers, it is up to your preference. I'm going to be using Huda Beauty's Legit Lashes double-sided mascara to better blend my natural lashes into the falsies. One side of the mascara is for volume and the other side of the mascara is for curling and lengthening of your lashes. Since I'm wearing falsies, I'm going to be using the curling and lengthening side of the mascara to blend in my lashes. I like applying mascara after falsies because I just feel it gets your natural lashes to blend better. For blush, I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio in Pink Passion and using a combination of all three shades. To apply the blush, I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro A23 Large Tapered Blending Brush. I like to apply blush with a smaller face brush because it gives me more control over the placement. I love blush, so I like to apply it above the cheekbone area and to the apples of my cheeks. And I do go over that with a damp beauty sponge as well, making sure it all melts together. Adding a bottom strip lash is optional, but I'm definitely going to add them, and I'm using Norvina bottom lashes in the style A Moment. A bottom lash really just adds that much needed drama, especially if you don't have bottom lashes naturally. I want an intense high glam look, so bottom lashes are necessary. Lastly is the lips. Make sure before you do your lips that they are exfoliated and moisturized beforehand. My lip combo for this look is going to include ColourPop Lippy Pencil in CTRL, Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in the shade Crush, and MAC Cosmetics clear lip gloss. Here I slightly overline my lips with the lip liner. If you want a plumper, fuller looking lip, overlining is your friend. Once my lips are outlined, I'm going to bring the shade towards the center of my lips to start creating an ombre effect. If you have a client, go ahead and use a small lip brush for this instead of your finger. I'm now adding the crushed liquid lipstick to the center of my lips and then blending it out into the lip liner. When I'm doing a glossy lip, I always like to have a liquid lipstick as my base shade. That way the lip lasts a lot longer as opposed to just a colored gloss over the top. This may seem like a lot of lip products or like it's a lot of extra steps, but you want the look to last as long as possible, so it pays to be a little overbearing in this case. Lastly, I am applying MAC Cosmetics clear lip gloss. This is my favorite clear gloss. It gives your lips a gorgeous glass-like finish. A little goes a long way and it lasts longer than any other gloss I've used. So if you're looking for a gloss that really gets the job done, this cult classic is it. Once you're done, finally go ahead and mist your face with some setting spray and the look is complete. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial. If you guys do end up recreating this look, please feel free to tag me on Instagram because I would love to see how you guys did. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.